What is going on, everybody? We are back for another episode of It's Game Time. This is episode number 2. As with me, as always, is my co-host Eric. How you doing, Eric?
I'm doing pretty good. Episode 2 is here, just
We
like
made
that.
it. We made it past the first episode, so I
Y-
think that's a
I
milestone.
mean, it was a very long episode to get through, obviously, but we got past it, and now we're on to our second official episode. This is going to be mainly Jett's episode, like we said on our first episode. I usually do Tuesdays, and Jett takes over on Thursdays. So, Jett, why don't you go and take it away?
Yeah, so a few things I just want to cover today. The first thing we're going to go over is we had a few polls on our Instagram. We're just going to go over some of the responses to that.
Let's see
Some
how
good
this.
ones, some bad ones, but we'll get to that. Then
You
we're
know,
going to
you know what I'll do? I have the sound bite of like the applause and then
Okay.
the sad trombone. So
I
I'll
like that. I like that.
click my nose.
Okay. And then the next segment is we're just going to go over the NFL schedule, see which games stand out to us, the most which ones we're most looking forward to. Then I have a question I want to ask Eric to see what his thoughts are pertaining to the MLB. Then I'm going to get to my first ever MLB power rankings. There's going to be a
Uh,
lot of disagreements I feel with these rankings just because
Absolutely.
there's a couple teams that you could probably put in there, but I'm happy with the way my rankings turned out, so we'll see what happens with that.
Oh, I'm gonna pick it apart.
I kind of figured out who you would probably want in there instead of some of the teams, but we'll get to that in a little bit. But let's go ahead and start with some of the Instagram polls that we put out the past few days. So our first one was who's more likely to make the NBA finals. The two options were Lakers and Clippers.
Who do you think I voted for, Jet?
The Clippers, right?
Oh yeah, yeah. In LeBron, I trust.
I still can't get
Uh,
over all that
like,
LeBron nonsense, but
quote me on that. Like that is like that is my quote. That's gonna be my first ever quote. Is in LeBron, I trust.
yeah, but whatever with that stuff. But the Lakers won this poll 59% to
Ooh.
41%. So the general public agrees with you on that.
Oh yeah, let's go. I got an army behind me.
But in this next poll, they don't agree with you. It was about LeBron or MJ for GOAT status if the Lakers win it all this year. 75% said MJ.
They just don't know. They just and it's okay. It's okay.
I mean, definitely a
Okay.
few big LeBron supporters in these comments. I mean, our friend Nino was one of them,
Yeah.
and as well as shout out to Connor Malloy, also said LeBron as
Hey,
well.
hey, Connor, shout out.
So the three of you guys were the ones who said LeBron,
Of course. I
which
mean,
it's whatever though.
hey, we no, it's not whatever. It's they are smart gentlemen. That's who they are. They are
But this,
smart.
yeah, that I mean, they're smart, but I just disagree with their selection. But anyways,
You won't when LeBron and the Lakers, when LeBron goes off in these playoffs and beats the Suns in the first round after beating the Warriors tonight and then beating the Suns and then beating the Trailblazers and then beating the Clippers and then beating Brooklyn, you'll change your mind. Trust me on that.
we'll see. We don't have to get into this, how it's nonsense and everything, but you know where I stand. I know where you stand. So let's get to the final poll that I put out about who do you think will win the NBA finals. We had some good answers and there were some answers that I just don't think apply to this question. I mean, your answer was the Knicks and Randall I trust. You want to expand on that?
Yes. Oh, I mean, of course. He's top 5 in MVP. I mean, what is his win share? Like 20 win or something like that? Obviously.
Yeah, I mean they're a good team, but are they
Thibodeau
really
alone
finals
is
ready?
Thibodeau is probably worth all 41 wins right there.
You're right. You're right. I mean, we had some answers like the Nets. Shout out to Ben.Andrews23 said the Nets in 5 games.
Wow. Wow.
Ben, I don't even think he watches basketball. And how is he able to make this prediction?
He'd probably definitely ask either like probably Josh.
Probably. I mean, Josh didn't even answer the question. That's what I'm wondering. What's going on with that?
Josh, where are you at, my guy?
But we had some nonsense answers as well. Lindsay G155 said the Bulls. What are your thoughts on that answer?
Lindsay, come on, come on. I mean, Vucevic is good and all. I mean, he was the best center in all of the state of Florida when he was in at the Magic. But I mean, come on now.
And she also told me that basketball isn't even important.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Hey,
we're gonna have to discuss this when she comes on the show.
Absolutely. I mean, Lindsay and Ben, they're now above Josh because Josh doesn't even he doesn't interact at all.
I know. I had to force Josh to even repost our podcast. I mean, I reposted your other podcast right away, and this is what I get for it. God.
Yeah, Lindsay, that's hopeful thinking. I think her answer got skewed because of that LeBron and MJ question prior. I think she was thinking of like the 96 Bulls. Maybe. I don't know.
Maybe. I mean, I know she's Chicago all the way, but it's a little too extreme.
Even if MJ was on these Bulls, I don't know what he could do with that team.
Yeah, I mean, we had some other nonsense answers, but I don't want to, give any of those people any credit for the answers they put. So we're just going to leave it at that. And we want to move on to the NFL schedule.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's get right into it. Jett, do you have it like listed as like your your top must watch game?
I have it in an order like top to
okay.
These are all pretty good games, but this is the order I put them in. So
okay, so same. So let me and the audience listening hear what your top game of the 2021 NFL season is.
So I think a lot of people out there are going to agree with me on this one. It has to be Brady going back to New England with his new Bucks team, as well as Gronk also returning to New England.
Yes.
So that's probably the biggest storyline game for the NFL season, I think.
Oh yeah, this was my number one game. Also, it's Week 4, Sunday Night Football. What I like about that is since it's Week 4. These teams, the Bucks and the Patriots, I mean, they're gonna not be sluggish at all, I don't believe, because it's Week 4. They have 3 weeks to already work out any type of kinks that they may have in the first 3 weeks. I think Week 4 is when teams really start to get good and stuff. But what's also good about Week 4 is that there's probably not going to be a lot of injuries. Majority of these teams across the NFL are going to have healthy rosters. So hopefully this is the case in which when it's the Patriots will have a healthy roster and the Bucks will also have a healthy roster, in which that also may help us get that final answer of, well, who was more valuable, Brady or Bill?
I don't want to put you on the spot here, but do you want to make a very, very early prediction for that game?
I already had it written down and everything. Early prediction is that the Pats will win this game, but Brady will have a good game. I think surprisingly, the Bucks defense is gonna lose this game for the Bucks.
It's interesting. I have the Bucks winning that game. I just think like this is the last team Brady has to beat in order for him to have beaten all 32 teams in the NFL. So I think he's gonna have this in his back pocket, and he wants to prove to Bill Belichick. He doesn't want to prove it to him, but wants to prove to anybody else that he can beat Bill Belichick.
Yeah, in which that's the thing is that this is the last team that he needs to beat all 32, and I just feel like the football gods are just not going to let that happen.
Okay, no, I see what you're saying, but
maybe in the future that they'll let it happen, but I don't think right now. I got a question for you. Do you think that even if the Bucks are winning the game, will the Pat fans be cheering for Brady?
They're going to be cheering for him the whole time, no matter what.
Weird.
I know it's going to be weird, but like, how could you boo him though? I mean,
no, I think it's a good chance of that happening, but that's insane to think. Like, of course, every Pat fan loves Brady. They love Brady way more than Bill. I mean, that's known, but it's just, it's almost essentially of them cheering against their own team.
Well, I mean, we have two friends, Connor and Aaron, who are Patriots fans, and I do remember them saying we'll have to get them on the show one time. But I do remember them saying they would love to see Brady win with the Bucks again over maybe even their favorite team, the Patriots, winning.
That's crazy. I mean, who is your like favorite player of any sport?
Well, like, of all time, my favorite player is Dwayne Wade.
Okay,
So
imagine like Dwayne Wade. Well, he did leave the Heat, but in his like still he was like really good and stuff like that. And let's say Dwayne Wade was on the Bucks.
no, I that's I can't do that. Team over player. For me, in
Yeah,
most
but
situations, I mean,
yeah, but I feel like for Pat fans, it's gonna be the player over the team.
I guess just it's Tom Brady, and there's no one, I guess, on his comparable level. I mean, I guess you can't even say like LeBron or anybody like that because he's been on so many teams. And
Exactly.
uh,
It's someone that has to be like just stayed with that team for so long. And I know Wade has played on multiple other teams, but it wasn't like he was even at an all-star level, to be honest.
right. But I'm curious to hear your second biggest game you're looking forward to.
My second biggest game is also in week 4, Thursday night football, the Jags versus the Bengals.
That was actually on the lower part of my list. I wasn't sure if I was going to include it, but I do see the storylines for that game if you want to talk about them
Absolutely.
a little bit.
Yeah. Again, this is the Jags versus the Bengals. These are not going to be two good teams. They haven't been in a very long time, but it's more about the QB matchup that will be taking place. Let me set the stage for you, okay?
Please do.
It's Lawrence versus Burrow, 2020 first overall pick versus 2021 first overall pick, and a rematch of the college football playoffs back in 2019. I mean, come on. I mean, this is obvious that, again, the same thing goes with why it's great that it's in week 4. Healthy rosters and the kinks should be worked out more so. I think this is I think this was very intentional by the NFL to put it in week 4 because it's early enough to where people will stay interested and they're not like god awful. They don't have a god awful record where people may not even care anymore. So I think this is perfect. They put it in a perfect week. I
No,
don't
I'm
think
I'm
even any later.
I'm really looking forward to that game too. Do you have a winner for that one as well?
I don't have a winner, but I have a prediction that both Joe and Trevor will apiece throw 4 TDs in the game.
Wow. That's definitely gonna be a good game. I was deciding between that game and also the Trevor Lawrence versus Zach Wilson game, but I give the edge to this game because both quarterbacks are like I like Burrow in a matchup versus Lawrence as opposed to Wilson. So
Yeah, in which I really hope that this will be a good game for the QBs. I don't think it's just going to be a good game, but for the QBs, I hope it's good so that it will become a matchup that we will be able to look forward to for the next decade. It's getting to the point where these older QBs are beginning to be filtered out by these younger QBs, in which now we maybe even later on, I don't know about you, but like an example is like Mahomes versus Josh Allen. Like these younger QBs, these are going to be the matchups for the next decade. And what helps is that they're both in the AFC.
exactly. And now I'll get to my second game that I'm looking forward to. I really hope this one has both QBs playing because there are some questions with one of these teams' quarterbacks. But the game is Kansas City Chiefs versus Green Bay Packers. The
Okay.
Rodgers and Mahomes finally face off against one another.
Yeah, I had that at the like around number 4 or 5 of my list, and then I thinned it out to the top 3.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, I really want to see this. I mean, Mahomes hasn't faced this team yet, and I think if Rodgers ends up staying on this team, it's going to be one of the most exciting games of the season, just because both quarterbacks are so elite, and it's probably going to be a very high scoring game, and I think it's going to be one of the best games of the season.
Really? You um did oh my gosh, I'm freezing. I'm freezing here. Brain fart. All right, any early prediction?
I'm going to say the Chiefs win that game.
Okay.
It is in Green Bay, but I like Mahomes' chances with the the renewed offensive line, and their defense is slowly improving as the years have gone too. So
do you know what week that is?
I do not have it written down. I think it's towards the middle part of the season. I'm not sure the
Okay.
exact week, but
Well, then hopefully both they're gonna be like full steam ahead as to working out all the kinks. It's just health wise. If it's in that middle part, hopefully both rosters will be healthy enough to where it will be a competitive game. And I mean, I'm hoping Rodgers stays with the Packers. But if he goes to the Broncos, we get to see that matchup twice, 2 times a year.
I mean, I think he'll end up staying, but there's so many
Yeah, I do
rumors
too.
going on right now that who knows what's going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, for my Giants' sakes, I don't want to face him in week 1.
Oh no, yeah, I don't blame you at all. But I think we have time for one more game each. You want to do that?
Yeah, you can go next.
Okay. I mean, for me, my third game, it was kind of a toss-up. I could have went with my potential Super Bowl prediction game that I think is going to happen, or a big trade that happened during the offseason. But since for the boldness of who I am and the takes I like to make, I'm going to just call my early Super Bowl prediction right now.
Oh,
This is a matchup between the Cleveland Browns and
my.
the Green Bay Packers. My early Super Bowl prediction.
All right, all right.
Just listen to me, okay? If Aaron Rodgers is on this team, he wants to prove his management wrong again, that he can take this team to a Super Bowl. That Jordan Love pick was a waste of draft capital, and the Browns are up and coming. They have the weapons on offense. The defense is getting better and better and better. So call the Browns my second favorite NFL team if you want. That's fine, but that's my prediction.
That's established now. That's completely established. You are all across the United States on your second favorite team.
Gotta be.
But I really thought that you were gonna. I don't see either, because talking about the Super Bowl, like your early.
It's gonna change most likely, but I like right now. Like, this is what I'm feeling. My gut feeling.
Yeah, but the Browns have to go through the Chiefs. They got to be better. They got to probably go against get past the Chiefs, the Bills. Say what you want. The Ravens.
I think the Browns are winning the division though this year.
There's a good chance. I would rather have the I'd rather have a Jim Harbaugh, right? Is it Jim?
The Ravens is John.
Okay. I'd rather have John than Stefanski.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. But like, who wants to be boring and say, it's gonna be Bills Bucks Super Bowl? I mean, everyone's expecting that. I think at this point, or Chiefs Bucks again, like something like that.
I'm just sorry. I'm looking at like the other teams in the AFC. Yeah.
Dolphins. How about the Dolphins?
No, stop. Surprised you didn't go with the Dolphins. I'll just make mine on the spot. I think it will be Bills Rams.
Interesting.
I like the Rams a lot.
I don't think people are understanding how much of a bigger impact I think Stafford's going to have on the team as opposed to Goff.
I really like the Rams. I think they'll be the 2 seed in the playoffs. I think the Bucks will be 1, but I mean, I really like the Rams, and I really like Stafford there also. And their defense is not a joke either.
Oh, no, not at all. I mean, if Stafford can be his normal self and have the weapons now and have the good team built around him, that team is going to be elite for sure.
I think if Stafford performs like he did in Detroit, they will have a top 5 offense and a top 5 defense.
Oh, I could totally see that happening for sure.
And I think they will maybe possibly, even if they're like the 2 seed, they will be the team to beat going into the playoffs.
I like the prediction. I do.
Yeah, so that's my early Super Bowl prediction is Bills versus Rams.
So who do you have for your third game?
For my third game is week 5. I'm hitting the early stages. I'm hitting these early stages. I'm looking for healthiness and for just healthiness, but also teams can work out the kinks. Sunday Night Football, Chiefs versus Bills.
Okay.
It's the rematch of the AFC Championship from last year. It's also a good test to see how close the Bills are now from the Chiefs. They are very similar teams in the style that they play. Their offense is really all about taking the big shot, and both QBs, Mahomes and Allen, have like mirroring playing styles.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's definitely be a great game considering it's a rematch we saw in the playoffs last year. I like the Bills' chances though of potentially getting to the Super Bowl, although it's going to be a tough hill to climb with the Chiefs and other up and coming AFC teams. I think it's a very good possibility they can get there this year.
But I mean, the one thing is that around 2 to 3 years ago, the Bills' defense was top 5. I don't really know what happened last year.
I think a lot of their guys like aged.
Okay.
I mean, health is always an issue too, but they have the pieces. Like they don't have any like flashy names really on the defense, but they're able to put it all together, which is why they should be fine defensively, but obviously offense they're better. So we'll have to see what happens with that.
Yeah, but my early prediction is that this will actually be more of a defensive game than expected.
I could see that happening. Yeah, I mean, there's always those games where just the offense just doesn't show up, and I mean, honestly, I would be surprised if that happens, but you never know. I could see that happening. Yeah,
Exactly. That's a nice little, tiny little
I
bold
like it.
take.
You're getting almost as bold as me, but you know.
Oh, I mean, I think I have the boldest take so far.
All right, you keep
Your
bringing it up. So.
on your standards, I mean, I think that's very reasonable, but
Oh, Eric. Okay, we got it. Let's get to this question of the day. I have. We're starting off the podcast with our first question of the day segment.
yes.
Ready for it?
Yeah, I'm ready.
So everyone knows with all the no hitters that have been happening early on in the MLB season, but the thing that I want to ask you is, what do you think is attributing to all these no hitters we have seen so early in the season? There's already been 5 through May 18th, which is tied with 1917 for the most through this calendar date.
1917.
Yep.
Well, what contributes to all this is the baseball itself. It's exactly that. It is now being referred to this time frame of like even going back to 2020. It's being referred to as the dead ball era. And that term was used back in like the 1917.
Exactly.
It's crazy. But there's a reasoning behind this. It's simple. It's overcorrecting. That's it. Because if you go back to 2018 and 2019, everyone was calling it the long ball era. I mean, home runs were fucking easy to hit. I mean, everything was flying out of the parks and stuff like that. And I don't understand this because you want to promote offense. That's what gets viewership. But apparently the MLB didn't like that, in which it's very well known that the baseballs were juiced during that time frame, maybe a little bit before, but I just remember hearing about it in like the 19 season. They're overcorrecting right now because they're trying to find that sweet spot. So they juiced it too much, okay, to where everything's going out with a simple touch of the bat, like you in the show, hitting it off the end of the bat and making it go 440. But now they're overcorrecting to where now it's a little too difficult to for the ball to travel. It's different for just guys not making contact. That's just the day and age now. It's just that the ball's not traveling. The ball's dying.
They took way too much juice out of the ball. I mean, I prefer an offensive game as opposed to a defensive game, but I mean, obviously it is fun to see these no hitters, but at a certain point, you know, I think more offense is going to bring more fans to the game.
Exactly.
Just because it's more exciting. So,
I mean, you can see the NFL, the NBA's doing it. They're being more generous to the offensive side of the sport because it's more attractive to the viewers. And that's the thing. I don't understand that. They obviously did it. But I will say, I believe that in next season, 2022, the sweet spot will be hit. Like we will find that sweet spot. We will go back to equilibrium. It won't be the long ball, but it won't be the dead ball era either.
So right now the record for no hitters in a season is 8, which was set in 1884.
Oh
I mean, I'm thinking that
we're two months in.
I know, so it's obviously gonna get broken. It's just like they obviously weren't expecting it to happen like this, but I mean, we can easily see over double digits in no hitters for this season.
I mean, yeah, the Mariners are averaging to get no hits. Well, I don't know.
Yeah, they've been no hit 4 times in the last 171 games.
Yeah, but they've been no hit twice this season. They're averaging 6 this season. Like if you do the law of averages, they're supposed to get no hit 4 more times.
That's insane. And they also have a team batting average of 191. Like that's insane.
That's insane, but that's just the day and age now in which these people, the guys are just now going for the home runs and the long ball, in which it promotes a lot of swing and misses. It's the drop in batting average is the change in the baseball does not affect the swing and missing.
Right.
That doesn't matter. That's just how the game is now. It's these balls being put into play. That's what you have to look at. Where these balls are being put into play. In 2019, a simple flyout was going out of the park. Now, a warning track shot now is a simple fly ball. I mean, there's some that I've watched, like a bunch of Yankee games. There's some off the bat that I'm like, oh my God, that is a rocket. And then it's a simple fly ball. They're like maybe 5 steps from the warning track.
Yeah, I've seen the same thing where balls I see off the bat and they turn the camera and then wow, how did that not go out? Like what is going on right now? But
yeah, the left fielder's taking like 6 steps to get to the ball. Like I'm like, what the heck is going on?
But hopefully, yeah.
I think it's just in one word, overcorrection. That's it. I don't think this is like the new, like this is it. Like this is how baseball is going to be. I don't think that, because even though it's a sport, it's business, and not having good offense is not good for the sport.
Exactly. I totally agree with that. Offense is going to bring more fans into this game and keep more fans in the ballpark, bring new fans into the ballpark, especially for the younger generation of fans. Like they're gonna fall asleep watching a game if it's a 1-0 game, pitcher's throwing a one hitter. I mean, like offense is everything, especially in baseball. So
exactly.
But ready to get to my first power rankings of the season?
Oh boy. Yeah.
So the way I constructed these power rankings, since it is my first of the year, I sort of taken what has happened up to this point as well as any recent trends and stuff like that. So I built my top 5 teams with some probably notable exclusions for sure, but let's get right to it. I know I'm going to get a lot of love from my Chicago fans on this pick right here, but
I know
the number one team in my the number one team in my power rankings is not the Chicago Cubs. It's the Chicago White Sox.
You don't have the lovable losers at number 1?
But the White Sox, they're back. I mean, I think they finally have the team ready to compete for a World Series. They're 25-16, first in the AL. They've won 8 of their last 10. They have the best run differential at +73, which is best in the league. They have the team leading in runs scored and on base percentage, and they also have the 5th best team ERA at 3.29. What do you think about this placement of the White Sox?
I have to agree with this. They are the best team in the league at the moment because of how great their offense is at the moment. Just to expand upon some stats that Jett was giving, they're 3rd in batting average, they're 1st in on base percentage, and they're 2nd in OPS. I mean that's incredible. I mean top 3 in all of those categories.
And they're doing this without 2 big bats in Luis Robert and Eloy Jimenez too, which is crazy.
Well, Abreu just kind of got injured too. Like I think he's day to day, but he's obviously going to be a little bit out. But what's also very impressive about this team is that they're putting up such productive offense numbers, yet they're the 9th youngest team in the league. This is a typical forewarning, okay? I gotta be devil's advocate. For the long run wise, like in the playoffs and stuff, this could be a typical example of a younger team doing good in the regular season and not pacing themselves for the playoffs. This could be like a scenario like I think we're both guessing of how like the Phoenix Suns are going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, I think they've had some success last year. I mean, I don't know if it's comparable to the Suns in the way that I do think Tony La Russa is going to do a good job of preparing this team. Hopefully, I don't know with all the recent controversy, but hopefully preparing them for the long run, not just a short run. But I do have a question in regards to Jose Abreu, actually. So he's right now with all the injury concerns with him right now. He had the collision a few days ago or whatever, but he's also top 2 in the MLB and RBIs right now. So for the rest of the season, I'm going to give you a list of first basemen. I want you to tell me if you trust Abreu or this first baseman more the rest of the season.
All right.
Vlad.
I got to go with Abreu.
Yuli Gurriel.
Abreu.
Max Muncy.
Max. I actually do. I really like Max.
So by the way, all of these players that I'm listing, they're all statistically better than Abreu right now. That's why I'm using these players as a comparison.
I really like Max. I'll be honest. Maybe a little like that people will react like, what the heck? You're taking Max Muncy over the AL MVP. But I really like Max.
Okay, so Max Muncy's your favorite player in the MLB. Got that. Okay,
yeah.
Matt Olson.
That's a tough one. I will go with Abreu.
And just, to add a Marlins into this, Jesus Aguilar.
Oh, man. Aguilar, man. Oh, gosh. I love his stance in the batting in the box, man.
I love everything about him. There's nothing not to like.
But I got to go with Abreu. You excluded my boy, Luke Voit.
Well, this is just, based off statistics. I don't think Luke Voit has enough, statistics to qualify for this argument.
Hey, he hit a home run the other night, okay? He's on his way back, all right?
That's good. Yo, the Yankees need him, so that's good.
Yankees do need him indeed. I mean, that was a black hole for the team. But in this recent White Sox have some controversy around them a little bit with Tony La Russa. How do you But I want to ask, how do you feel about Mercedes hitting that home run off of the position player the other night?
I have no issue with that at all. I mean,
exactly.
Who cares that he was given the take sign and it's a blowout? I mean, this could matter if he's negotiating a contract and he had one less home run than what he had, and this was the difference between a $1 million bonus. Like, why not take this home run? I mean, these players are trying to make a living in the MLB, and they need their at bats to make an argument for how they need to continue to stay in their respective lineups.
Exactly. I don't give a damn about some unwritten rules bullshit. I've heard that for so long. It's the old heads talking, all right? That's why the sport has not been growing, is because these guys are like, oh, you can't hit a home run when you're up, 9 runs, whatever it was? I don't care.
Yeah, I mean, Tony La Russa needs to wake up. I know he was away from the game for a couple of years, but has he been not watched any games in the past few years? I mean, let's what's going on here?
Oh my God, I don't get it. And then last night, Mercedes, of course, because of the unwritten rules, gets thrown at, and Tony after the game, he's like, yeah, he doesn't back up his player in Mercedes at all.
Some pitchers are way too petty too. If they don't want their player to hit a home run off of them, but throw better pitches. I mean, it's pretty simple.
Exactly.
I mean, hitting someone to retaliate is not going to make anything better. It's just going to make things worse.
I know, that's not fun to watch. That's not fun to watch. You're gonna get thrown out. You know you're gonna get thrown out. Do you not want to pitch? That's essentially what it is. I mean, do you not want to pitch?
Speaking of pitchers not being able to find the strike zone, I want to talk about your Cy Young pick, Lucas Giolito, who has had a rough start to the 2021 season. He has a 4.97 ERA right now, which is not a really good
Hey, all right.
performance from him so far.
He's a young guy, all right. He may be a slow starter, all right. Let's see him like ramp. He's probably gonna ramp up in June, is my guess. I'm
Okay.
guessing June. How's Lance Lynn?
Lance Lynn has a sub-2 ERA, so
Uh,
I don't nothing to say about that, I guess. I guess that's on the money right there.
yeah. One thing I do have to say about their defense, though, is they're 16th in defense efficiency and second worst in fielding percentage.
Oh wow.
So
That needs to get better if they want to stay
I
in my
think
power
I,
rankings.
yeah, I think it's mainly because they're a young team, and young teams usually make more mistakes. But in the playoffs, that can be costly. You
Right.
can't make mistakes.
So
But I have for the White Sox. I have for all these teams. I decided to do a 3-word description of them.
okay, I like it.
For the White Sox, I have young and exciting.
That perfectly fits them. Yeah, for sure. I like that.
So from here on out, everyone, I'll be just going through and giving my 3-word description.
All right, Eric's gonna be in charge of the 3-word descriptions. Sounds
Hell yeah.
good.
Rock on.
I have an over under question for you.
All right.
So they're on pace for 101 wins right now. Over or under?
Under.
Okay.
It's they're at an extremely impressive rate right now, and I just don't think they can keep that up.
Honestly, we might not see many teams finish with 100 wins just because of some of the I don't think there's one team that really stands out. I know the White Sox are number 1 in my rankings, but even that there's still a lot of great teams, not like one team that stands out in my opinion.
Yeah, I think the Dodgers may be getting there soon.
Maybe we'll see if they appear in my top 5 for this week.
Maybe, hopefully.
So let's move on to number 2, shall we?
Yeah, let's see what
Number 2, one of the biggest surprises of the season so far. The San Francisco Giants are back already. I mean, feels like they were going away for a little bit. Now that they're suddenly back, they actually have the best record in the MLB right now by a half a game over the White Sox. They're 26-16, first in the NL West over the Dodgers, over the Padres. What has gotten into the Giants? Well, let me tell you, their ERA is a 3.25, fourth best in baseball, and they also hit in the long ball. With it not being juiced as it was, they have 58 home runs, tied for second in baseball. So with the long ball and the team ERA, this has been able to propel this team into the second spot in my rankings. Thoughts?
I hate this. I hate this. This is a overreaction on your part. All right, and I'll tell you why. All right, I got my own stats to show. All right,
Okay.
Here's my 3-word description of the Giants: the fool's gold. They're the fool's gold right now. All right, and you're the fool falling for the gold.
Yeah, but right now they're the best team in the MLB. So
No, okay. See, I think that they're a case of the fool's gold, and their record shows that they are. It shows that they are if you look into the record itself. Like if you actually look into it, the only competitive teams that they have played so far are the Padres, in which they've won 2 out of the 3 series, and the Phillies, but the Phillies are now a 500 team. Other than that, they have faced the Mariners, the Rockies twice, the Reds, the Marlins twice, the Rangers, and the Pirates. If you don't keep up with baseball, that's not a competitive that's not a competitive group. They have a combined record of 109 and 137. That is a 443 winning percentage. They have faced essentially nobody.
I get what you're saying, but like it's not like they have any big names in their starting rotations. They have a bunch of guys over the age of 30 that used to produce at a high level that suddenly have recaptured this. And even though some of those teams they played are not that good, I mean, it's still the MLB. It's still not a given. The better team doesn't always win every night, and they've proven they can be the better team on most nights.
Yeah, they're proven that they're the better team against bottom half of the league teams.
Yeah, but it's not. You got to understand. Like, I know you said, the Marlins, you got to bring them up, of course, but you still have to win these games, right? I mean, it's not a given.
I'm not debating that. I think they should be in top 5. They should not be 2. I think they deserve to be at whoever you have below, whoever it is above them, just because they just have not faced anybody. And the thing is that I think that by the beginning of June, They will have fallen to third place in the division and will be hovering around 500. They have 2 series against the Dodgers in which I believe the Dodgers will show them who the champs are.
Well, don't get me wrong. I don't think the Giants are keeping this up at all. I just think for right now, they deserve to be in this number 2 spot just to give them some credit for what they've done to this point. I do think the Dodgers are going to leapfrog them. The Padres are going to leapfrog them. And they're probably going to end up missing the playoffs. But it's a good story for right now. And I think they deserve the number 2 spot.
All right. More likely, they keep the best record by the All-Star break, or they fall below 500 by the break.
They fall below 500 for the break.
Okay.
Yeah. I have a more likely for you.
All right.
Giants or Red Sox to sustain their unsuspected success?
Red Sox.
Okay.
I think the Red Sox are like a better version of the Giants.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I do prefer the Red Sox over the Giants long term, but also I forgot to mention I wanted to do a biggest surprise and biggest disappointment for all my teams, and I'm just gonna read mine for the Giants. My biggest surprise for the season is Alex Wood, who's coming off injury plague seasons where he had a 6.39 ERA last year, and he's figured it out. I mean, he has a 1.75 ERA this year, and he's at the top of that rotation. So kudos to him.
Depending on where the Giants are at by the trade deadline, but they're a team that usually doesn't tank. That's the thing. They usually don't tank, but if they are not like even competing, they're not in position to compete for the wild card. That is the number one. That is one of the top pitching candidates in the entire MLB for any team.
I totally agree. He deserves to, if the Giants aren't contending, to go back to a contending team. I know he's been on the Dodgers in the past, but he would definitely deserve to go on another contending team. I have an over-under question for you.
All right.
So this is unlikely to happen. They're on pace for 100 wins right now. How far below 100 wins? Like what number do you give wins wise for them?
Oh, I haven't looked at their entire schedule. I'm gonna guess it gets more difficult in the second half. I hope it does. I don't see how it couldn't, but I'm gonna say they're gonna get like 81 wins.
Yeah, that's
like 15 or more below.
That
100.
seems likely for sure. Yeah. Ready for my number 3 team?
Let's see who it is. Oh man, you started off hot and then you completely lost me.
Hopefully I can bring you back. I want you to accept my rankings, even though I disagree with some of your takes. So
all right.
Here we go. The Houston Astros have taken my number 3 spot in their rankings. And yes, they figured out how to play baseball without cheating. We think they have. That's the thing. But prior to their loss last night to the Athletics, they're the hottest team in baseball. They're 24-18, have won 7 out of the last 10. Their offense has been ridiculous. They lead the MLB in RBIs and batting average. Their rotation is very young, with Greinke at the top, the veteran leading that. They have the 12th best ERA, but I think the Astros do have another great shot at winning the division again this year.
Yeah, I hate the Astros.
I do too.
For me, for obvious reasons, for being a Yankees fan, I despise the Astros, and I want to congratulate all the Yankees fans that went to the games when the Astros visited Yankee Stadium. You guys did amazing. You did just the perfect amount of disrespect to them.
They deserve it. They 100% deserve it.
Yeah. I think they deserve to be top 5, though. I don't think they deserve to be number 3, because, like the Giants, they haven't played anyone, in all honesty. I'll be honest. So here's the thing. I looked into the record again. They played 28 games in their own division with a record of 19-8. That is 28 games is almost like 4 to 5 more games than any other team in the entire league playing in division. All right. Their record against any other team out of their division is a whopping 5-9.
Yeah, I get that.
Not good. They're not good out of the division.
But the division games matter the most come when it comes down to it.
I'm not. Yeah, I get that, but I think whenever you play in division, you play better because you know the teams. That's why even like if you look at time of play for whatever game, whenever it's in division, it's like 30 extra minutes longer because you guys just know each other very well. So my 3-word description for the Astros are only in division.
Okay. Makes sense. Yeah.
I think they deserve to be maybe in the 5 or 4 spot, depending on who you have next. I just maybe even the 3. I don't know. It's like you make. I think the argument is between the Astros and the Giants and stuff like that. So
well, that is a small sample size outside of division. I know it's still very early in the season, so we will just have to see if obviously they can improve on that. But I just want to get to my biggest surprise on this team for this year is starting pitcher Christian Javier. It's his second year in the league. He's had a great start to his career, 3.31 career ERA. He's been able to pick up some of the slack for Zach Greinke, who has struggled this year with a 4.18 ERA. The pitching obviously has some question marks, and in order for them to compete, obviously, in the playoffs, the pitching is going to have to show up because their offense is, I'm pretty sure, always going to be consistent throughout the season. But I have a most likely question for you. Ready?
okay. Yep.
The Astros win the division by at least 5 games, or they finish second by trailing by at least 5 games.
They win the division by 5. I think the Athletics are fool's gold in itself, like for sure fool's gold. They just don't even have the star power to compete with the Astros, in all honesty.
The A's have a negative run differential right now. One of the
exactly.
Yeah, that's
what are they, like -9 or something like that?
Yeah, -7. I saw it today, and I just think like that's gonna correct itself as time goes on.
Exactly.
Number 4, you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready for number 4. Let's see what you got here.
A team that had high expectations coming into the season and will probably end up going higher up in my rankings as the season goes on. I have the San Diego Padres. 26-17, second in the NL West behind the Giants. They've won 5 in a row, 8 of their last 10. Obviously, they're 4th in NL in hits, 1st in stolen bases, the best ERA in the National League, and the most strikeouts in the National League. Thoughts on my placement of the Padres?
Whoa. I think for my 3-word description of them, it's fitting for where they're at in the division. It is the second place. I think they deserve to be in second place of your rankings.
I just don't think the Padres have played their best baseball yet. I think even though the Giants, we both don't think they're going to sustain this. This is probably the peak of how well they're going to be playing throughout the season. I think that the Padres have so much more. I mean, Tatis has had injury issues. Machado's been underperforming. They've both been underperforming. Their starting pitching has been unbelievable. I know you're a big fan of Joe Musgrove.
Gosh, love him. One of the 5 no-hitters.
Exactly. Yeah, the Padres definitely have what it takes, obviously, to compete with the Dodgers in long term for the division, and they're going to compete for a World Series title for sure, if not this year, in the future. But I have a Joe Musgrove question. Let me ask you this.
All right.
So who do you trust more, Musgrove or this pitcher the rest of the season? Joe Musgrove or Brandon Woodruff?
Oh, Joe Musgrove. He's in a tougher division.
Okay. Joe Musgrove or Clayton Kershaw?
Clayton. You got to go Clayton.
Joe Musgrove or Zach Wheeler?
Joe Musgrove. Zach Wheeler fell off. I don't think he's what he was with the Mets.
Okay. Joe Musgrove or Kevin Gausman?
Kevin.
Giants.
Giants. Oh.
He has a 1.84 ERA right now.
Joe Musgrove. I just think that the Padres have a better no, the Giants have a better organization, but I just think the Giants are fool's gold right now.
No, like I said, I totally agree with that. I mean, like I said, Tatis and Machado have not even reached full stride at what we expect them to be. So I think they're gonna figure everything out. It's just a matter of time of when that is.
Yeah. Uh, a thing they are tied for first in total WAR as a team
Wow.
in all MLB.
That's yeah, I mean they're I like you know what? I'll say it right now. The Padres are my pick to represent the NL in the World Series.
Ooh, okay. Maybe I shouldn't have put that WAR stat out there.
No, after thinking about it, I just think that obviously, yeah, the Dodgers are great. I think this is just not the Braves' year. The Mets can't seem to score runs. No one from the Central is going to be competing
No.
for the World Series. I mean, who else? I mean, Dodgers or Padres, really. I mean,
Yeah, I gotta go with the experienced
no,
team.
I get that for sure. I mean, if it's not this year, it's going to be soon. So,
Yes, I will agree with that.
all right.
Yes.
Ready for number 5 to round it out?
Yeah, your final one. Let's see who you got at the 5 hole.
Another huge surprise so far this season. We've talked about them briefly before. The Boston Red Sox, they're back after a short little break. They're back. They're 25-18, best in the AL East, above the Yankees, above the Rays.
I'll let you finish.
They have the fourth, and in my well, also I'll just get this out of the way. They have the fourth best constructed roster, I think, in the division, in my opinion. But they do have their team ERA has been sliding as the months have been going on, which is why that you could make a case for them to be outside the top 5 of my rankings. But I wanted to give them recognition for the offensive power that they've displayed throughout the first few months of the season. They're second in hits, 7th in home runs, 5th in RBIs, 4th in batting average. I will tell you, I did either think about putting the Dodgers in this spot or I considered possibly the Rays. The Rays have had a little bit of a hot streak as of late. I did not consider the Yankees at all for this spot. But what are your thoughts on this placement?
I think for now the Red Sox deserve to be at the 5. It's again a similar case to the Giants, but they're just they're a higher quality team. I think that I like you said, the ERA is kind of plummeting. So my 3-word description of the Red Sox is offense's back is hurting. Offense is back hurting, like from carrying this team. Is it question mark?
Yeah, I don't honestly. I like with the Giants. I think it's going to be the same situation where they don't figure out a way to sustain their high powered offense, and they'll probably be behind both the Yankees and the Rays. I think by the All-Star break.
Yeah, because here's the thing. They've faced some competitive teams so far, but they're about to get they're starting a rough stretch here. All right. They're right now facing the Jays. Then they go on to face then they face the Phillies, and then also Houston, and then also the Yankees, the Jays again, the Braves, the Rays, and then the Yankees, in which then there's a sprinkle of some below average, like below 500 teams in there. But that's a rough stretch. How do you think they'll do? And that's for mainly the month of June. How do you think they'll do in this stretch?
I think they'll. I mean, I think they could go around like 500, maybe a little worse. But like I said, just don't think they're going to be behind the Yankees and Rays for sure by the All-Star break. I know that for a fact.
What about the Blue Jays?
Oh, the Blue Jays. Yeah. Oh, that's tough.
They're facing off right now. Blue Jays just won last night.
They did. I'll still take the Red Sox by the All-Star break to be above the Blue Jays, but long term, I like the Blue Jays more. I just don't. I don't know. Like, you think the Red Sox are going to fall all the way to fourth in the division?
I mean, the Yankees are a game and a half back from the Red Sox. I mean, that's how close it is at the moment, and the Yankees hold fourth place in the division.
Right. Yeah. Well, we'll have to see. I have actually a funny, more likely question for you.
All right.
So, what's more likely to happen? The Red Sox move to fourth in the East by the end of May, or Alex Cora gets caught for cheating?
Alex Cora gets caught.
Exactly. There you go. That's the answer I was looking for right there. What a way to end my top 5 rankings. Unless you have anything else you want to add before.
No, I mean, I think my Red Sox 3-word description, that's my favorite. Offense's back hurting,
I
question
like
mark?
that a lot. I do.
Because it is. I mean, their offense is carrying. They're third in batting average and OPS plus. They're first in slugging and on OPS.
Well, I mean, yeah, they do have some big names. I mean, JD Martinez, Xander Bogaerts, Alex Verdugo's had a nice year, so they have
Yeah.
the guys, but I don't know if they'll be able to keep up some of these career years. But
Yeah.
do we have time for my top 5 most surprising players, or
We're at
or we
55.
we want to give it a little preview for the next show?
Preview.
Preview. Okay, so preview. Well, we have some young guys on here, some guys that have been around the league, so you'll have to stay tuned to listen to my top 5 surprising players.
Yes, guys. This is next week. We'll be back. New episode will be on next Tuesday, in which I got to figure out what I want to have scheduled. We may talk about MLB, may dip our toes into more NFL, possibly.
Formula One.
Formula One will be talked about for a quick minute, maybe near the end. Formula One will be talked about because the Monaco race is this Sunday. It's one of the most iconic. Monte Carlo for other people. It's in Monte Carlo. It's the Monaco race, I believe. But it's probably the most well-known and iconic race in Formula One. It's the Jett. Do you know that race?
I briefly, yeah, you briefly told me a little bit about it, but
yeah, it's just the one with it's if you can imagine like the race, if you can think of a type of race for Formula One, it's the one in the streets and on the coastal side, stuff like that. It's really cool. It's this Sunday. I believe the race is at 9 a.m. It's on ESPN. So if you're willing to get up at 9 a.m. to watch a 60-lap race, please do. It's going to be great. I'll probably be talking about it a little bit. It won't be a long rant from me. We'll probably be talking about the NBA games Tuesday also. May hand out possibly, I got some ideas for some awards for the games that we see.
Might possibly have a guest for one of the shows next week.
Exactly. We'll see what happens. All right. But yeah, guys, this was It's Game Time with your co-host, me, Eric, and my co-host, Jett.
Don't forget to follow us on Instagram at It's Game Time _podcast.
Yes, guys. Follow us at It's Game Time _podcast on Instagram. We hope you have a wonderful Thursday. Peace out, everybody.